okay? Because some people might not think tennis is exciting. Some people might say, oh, tennis is boring, okay? So yeah, so this is what you're doing. I don't want to just be doing this up here because you guys need to be doing it. So you need to do this. This is why I gave it to you on paper so you didn't have to underline in your book. And what's the essay map? Right, so these three things, even though you don't know what this is, which I don't, if you don't know what these three things are, you can still recognize it as this is the essay map. And in this paper, it's going to go faster, pinpoint lobs, and slide topics. Okay, so is this missing anything? No, this has everything. Okay, many students make college a worthwhile experience by joining fraternities and sororities, playing intramural sports, and participating in student government. Is that argumentative or is that a statement of fact? Okay, what's argumentative about it? What might somebody disagree with in this question? Okay, what you might argue as a college student is, I don't think these three things are what makes college argument worthwhile. I think these three things are. I think three different things are. Yeah. Okay. Okay, does this, so this is the argument, controlling idea and attitude. Why do I say I don't like the word attitude, the word they're using here? What does the slang meaning of attitude mean? If you say, she really has an attitude, what does that mean?
Tone?
That's usually a negative statement, right? So that's why I don't like it, because some students read this as meaning you have to be negative about everything. And that's not what it means. You can have a good attitude. You can have a positive attitude. But yeah, the slang phrase has become so common that a lot of people read that as, oh, I have to say something bad about it. And that's not what it means. Your attitude here is, this is positive. She's saying we're making college a worthwhile experience by doing these two things. Okay? So what's the three-part essay map? Yeah, joining these things which we don't have here, playing intramural sports, and participating in student government. Now somebody else might say they make it a worthwhile experience by getting good grades on their papers, attending class every time, and something else. Okay, what about this? Argumentative. Yolanda, is number 4 argumentative?
Yes.
Okay, what is it that makes it argumentative? What's the attitude and controlling idea? What did you underline as the attitude and controlling idea? I think we can all see what the topics are. They're pretty clear. So Joanna, what words did you underline for the attitude and controlling idea?
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the attitude and controlling idea. What's missing from this? The SMF. Okay. What about this? Is that argumentative? Could you argue with that statement? Is anyone familiar with that kind of watch? It's one of those very, very, it's like a Rolex. It's one of those very, very expensive watches. Okay. So could you argue that something else makes it popular? Yeah. So it does have attitude. This is the attitude. What this makes it popular. Okay. Yeah. These are really getting into that soft argument. It's like, why is that argumentative? But you could fill in 3 different things here that make it popular for collectors. You could say the wristband, the face, and the hand. I guess that would come under styling. Okay? So the three-part essay map should be obvious. Wherever there's a list of ABC, that's the essay map. Okay, I know I'm going quickly on this because I think once you get the idea of what's going on here, it's pretty simple. Once you figure out what they're calling this stuff, the hump here is always that attitude and controlling idea, which is why I don't continue to call it that. To me, from now on, we're going to call these things argumentative thesis statements with three-part essay maps. Okay, so this is missing the essay map. Is this missing anything? No, this is good. Fuel cell cars should be an industry priority because of 1, 2, 3. And whenever you see the word should, that's definitely the attitude, the controlling idea. They should be an industry priority. Anybody know what fuel cell cars are? I have no idea. I don't know how that's different from, what do we have now? Electric, the hybrids. I don't know what that is. Okay, but it sounds like they're doing the, it's the same kind of thing, whatever they are. So is that missing anything? No, this has all three. Skydiving and bungee jumping are dangerous activities. Anybody argue with that? Yeah, someone could argue. They could say, no, it's not dangerous if you do this. Okay? Yeah, so another reason I like to go over this exercise is kind of open some people's eyes as to what is an argument and what isn't. Like fruits are a good source of vitamin C. We don't think of that as being argumentative because we hear it all the time. Yeah, we're always hearing that these things are dangerous. But somebody could disagree. And as long as somebody could write a paper saying, no, these things are not dangerous if you do this, this, and this. Now, you may not agree with that person, but it's still going to mean that this is an arguable statement rather than a statement of fact. Now, does this have an essay map?
No.
Not according to this. However, just to start off with this, there is nothing magic about this number 3. I'm starting you off on a 3-part thesis statement because I'm teaching the 5-paragraph essay. And that's the building block of the essays you will write in 111 and 1A and 1B. However, you could, and you might in this class, write a paper with a 2-part thesis statement, in which case you would have 2 body paragraphs. So what I'm saying is, did anybody underline, what are we doing here? What's the essay map? Did anybody underline this 3 times? Okay, if you did, I couldn't really mark you wrong, because you might be thinking in terms of writing a 2-part thesis statement, okay? And then you would have only a 4-paragraph essay. What I'm going to have you do is 5, but it's possible that this could be the essay map. But more likely, for the purposes of this exercise, they're thinking of, because of 1, 2, and 3. So the answer the book has would be, no, it doesn't have an essay map. But I couldn't really mark you wrong if you said that skydiving and bungee jumping was the essay. Okay, the St. Louis Cardinals are a Major League Baseball team. Is that argument or statement of fact? And you say it's an argument. Anybody disagree? Angel, is number 8
The argument?
I'm sorry, Angel's not. I'm still getting Angel and Lupe mixed up. Lupe, is number 8 a statement of fact or an argument? Now be careful on this one, because the word major here may not be what you think. Yeah, this is a statement of fact. I took this right out of the book, and this is how they have it in the book. but it's a little bit misleading because actually, I think this should be capitalized. Now is it a statement of fact? Yeah, now it's clear that it's a statement of fact. Because they're not saying they're a major team. They're just saying they're a Major League Baseball team. I don't know why they didn't capitalize that, because that's the name of a league, right? Okay, so what would you have to do to that to make it argumentative? Because it's missing the attitude and control idea. Question, what would you do to make that argumentative?
But is the
To
best
say- Yeah, you need to
team-
say they're the best Major League Baseball team, they're the worst Major League Baseball team.
No, they're
Yeah,
not
so
good.
you need to get,
They're the worst
that's
team.
missing an attitude and control idea. It's the only one that is. But but it's confusing. I think if they had capitalized that, it would have made it clear. Okay, Star Trek was a long-running television series because of special effects, interesting characters, and fascinating stories. Robert, is that argumentative? Does it have an attitude and controlling idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody else might say, no, I think it ran for a long time because of X, Y, and Z. Okay? So, yeah, this is your attitude and controlling idea. Somebody else might say it was 3 other things that made it it was a long-running series. You can't argue with that. But the reasons that it was could be argued. So is that missing anything? No. Cruises are a popular form of vacationing because of A, B, and C. So that definitely has an essay map, right? Is that argumentative? Cynthia, is this one argumentative? Yes. Because could somebody else say that cruises are popular because of something else? Right? Does everyone get that my idea of argument versus statement of fact? So if I come back to you on a thesis statement and say, this thesis statement isn't argumentative, it's just a statement of fact, you can understand what's going on. Okay, this, we won't go over these, but you needed to do this. You need to have 4 3-part thesis statements for these topics. Did everybody understand that? You had to write out 3 thesis statements. And a lot of things you could do with the popular book, you could actually name one, like Harry Potter or something. And say Harry Potter is popular because of these 3 things, but you had to say what 3 things you think it was, okay? College drinking, any arguments about that?
What's that?
Okay. What can you argue about college drinking? What can you argue about saving money? Is it easy? Is it hard? Why? What can you argue about buying a new car? What are 3 things you can argue about buying a new car, saving money, college drinking, and popular books? Okay, let's go ahead and turn those in. This introduction to the, so everyone sees how that fits in with where we're going with the essay. Now, we need to see the next homework. Okay, so we're, like I said, this is the big shift in this semester. We're moving from paragraphs to essays, which is a big shift in terms of homework and stuff, but I think it's actually a pretty straightforward move when you get the idea of it. So from now on, we're going to be writing essays. But we're going to continue, with this list in your book of writing modes, otherwise known as rhetorical strategies, okay? And we're also going to move in the reading that I have to do from that part about the paragraph, because as you noticed, each one of these chapters, descriptive and narrative, had a paragraph part and then an essay part. So now we're going to start reading the essay part. Our first one is the example essay. Our first essay is going to be example. And what this means, as you can probably figure out from the descriptive and narrative essay, you used description to prove an argument about something. You said, this is a beautiful room, or this is a frightening room, or this was a scary experience, okay? You use narrative to prove a point. Your events prove some sort of point, okay? My first date was the best thing I ever went on. My first date was the worst experience I ever had, okay? So you use the events in that experience to prove that point. So what does it mean if I'm now going to ask you to write an essay using example as your strategy? How can you fit that into this? You're going to have an argumentative thesis statement, and then what are you going to do with your examples?
Those are going to be your bodies.
They are going to prove your argument. Just like, so that's what all of these mean. You're going to use this writing mode, example, compare, contrast, definition, cause, effect, to prove an argument. Okay? So if you're going to write that paper about airlines, trucking companies, and railroads, what are some examples of airlines that you could use? Whatever the names of the major airlines are these days. Do we still have TWA? I don't know. Everything's been sold into all these different companies. So you go out and find 3 airlines: Malaysia Airlines, Korean Air, and whatever. Yeah. Okay. Good. And you use one of those as an example. Okay. See what I'm saying? You have to go out and find a company that you're going to use as an example to prove your point. Everybody following me? Veronica and Marshad, this is the next paper. Okay, how about this one? A successful career often hinges on hard work, dedication, and intelligence. Yeah, what are you going to use as your example of the fact that hard work is what you have to do to have a successful career? What would be a good example to use for that?
How much you put in?
Okay, good. So here's what she's doing. She's using herself as the example. She's talking about a job she had once, and she's saying, here's an example of how hard work leads to a successful career. You can use yourself, you can use somebody else, you can make somebody up, make up a kind of a person out of what you know. Susan started her job at such and such a point. Okay, see what I'm saying? So here's what you're going to do. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to read. We're going to read about body. We have a lot of reading here. Body paragraphs and concluding paragraphs. You've read the part about this already. That's what we just worked on. Read in your book about these 2 things. Okay? Plus, I'm going to have you read page 120 to 125, which is the example chapter in here, which talks about writing an example paper. And again, I like the exercises in my other book better. So this is, what I'm handing out to you is homework 5A. Their book calls it illustration. It's exactly the same thing. It's illustrating your point. And I'm gonna have you read this also, it's not very much, and then do the exercises in here. So same kind of thing as that Brinks and Diane Sawyer. They have a little paragraph for you to read, and then some questions to answer about that paragraph. Then you have reading class people will recognize this. This is a deal where they just want you to read here and then circle the one that doesn't contain an example. Okay, we'll see it in a minute. Then the last part, you need to write, you need to pretend like this is what we just looked at. This is it has an argument. A few contemporary singers work hard to send a positive message, but it's missing an essay map. So this time you have to fill it in. Give me 3 examples of singers that you think send a positive message. Okay. In a number of ways, this college makes it easy for working students to attend. What 3 things would you use if you were writing that essay? Okay. So you're choosing 3 examples. All right. So everybody's clear. Read the stuff in here. Read the example chapter in here, and then this pretty much says the same thing. Then your exercises for the example essay are here. But wait a minute, I have one more thing to give to you. What is the other thing I have to give to you? A worksheet. Good. Somebody has the pattern of the class. Okay. Did I give these to you? Yeah. Okay, and you guys know what to do with this worksheet, right? Use the worksheet to at least do what?
3-part thesis statement.
Develop a 3-part thesis statement for your example essay. Right? It doesn't have to be the one you're going to end up using.
All right.
But I want you to get at least that far on the worksheet. Okay, if you have any questions, email me.
On time. I just try to make money out of Be good, friend, eh? You have my back, you take bullet.
Okay, so I'll see you on Thursday.
Back the other day. My back ain't free, you know. Expensive back.
Okay, you're good?
I just thought there was more, but it's okay.
Okay.